in a sense, I had to develop my own fighter squadron. And if you look at our operation down in Florida, the template is a fighter pilot template. We have ops desk, we have a full-time flight surgeon on staff, we have leadership professional pilots, and the military has brought that and such a great example to how to run a professional flight operation. And so I didn't reinvent the wheel. I just took their template and said, okay, let's convert it to a civilian sense. And I would rank our flight operation among any in the world.
Well, I mean, I think it does pretty well. I mean, you pump out a lot of students, not only in the P51 each year, but you are doing a lot of other training. Can you, like, roughly, how many people do you think you've trained? Do you know how many you've trained?
Well, we have graduated, I think, 217 graduates of the program.
Okay.
That would, from a military standpoint, that would be equivalent to like a Top Gun or fighter weapons program.
Yeah.
Very, very demanding and very high standard of what you do and how you do it. And not everybody graduates. You can't buy your way through the program. We don't change the standards. And I would like to think we've made a big difference in the safety record of the high performance propeller driven airplanes. And so we've trained that, but flown thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the airplane, doing sort of like the military, we call FAM flights.
Right.
We call them orientation flights, which is, oh, by the way, page 1 of the syllabus. And you get in there and they go, hey, can I go for a ride in a Mustang? No, you can't really go for a ride, but you can fly it. Very highly qualified instructor. And that would be like you going, hey, you want to go fly the F-16? I'm going, yeah, count me in.
Of course, right? How much P51 time do you have?
Gosh, almost 2.5 years ago, I passed the 10,000 hour mark in the P51. So it's been 2.5 years. So I don't know, approaching 11,000, 10.5 somewhere. I quit counting after 10.
Yeah,
that was it. It was a milestone. And Rain, the irony of it is, the closer I got to the number, the more concerned I got about, the fighter pilot, don't screw it up now.
Yeah.
And so I sort of started thinking about everything, as a matter of fact, overthinking. And so the 10,000 hour mark came and left.
Yeah.
And I was happy to see it go. And then, I don't know, Angela or one of our other people said, wow, wouldn't this be great? Your 10,000 hour mark is actually at Sun and Fun, which is only like 3 weeks away. And I'm going, oh, here we go, all over again. Now I'm going to do it in front of, 10,000 people. And oh, by the way, do it in the demo world,
right? No
which
big deal.
is a little different.
Yeah, no big deal.
Yeah, no big deal. And so I took a deep swallow and said, well, okay, and got through it. But I was happy, very happy to see that mark come and go. And my promise to myself was, stop counting, go back to work, do what I do, how I do it, but been really blessed to get to fly the Mustang that much. And
that's incredible.
It's like, didn't they give you an F-16 when you retired?
I know. I think I was cheated on that. I was on the way out. They didn't give me one, so I got to follow up.
Well, the blessing is I can go to work and eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I'll fly that airplane today. And so the irony of it is that, I get to fly fighters. Are they current state-of-the-art airplanes? The answer is no. But I'm still flying them 35 years later and haven't been promoted out of the cockpit yet. So I don't know who wins or who loses, but I'll take this route.
I'd say it's a pretty good route. It's pretty, it's pretty okay. It's a push at best, as I like to say.
It's really special. It is just an incredible airplane. Got such a deep history and combat record of the airplane. And ironically enough, when you go on the TV and some of the places they start to rate the airplanes, and and stuff like that. You know, you got to thump on your chest when the Mustang still comes in number one.
It's a crowd favorite, you know, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter who you are, that Merlin motor, it's just something about it. What is the toughest aspect of the Mustang to you?
Feeling the airplane. The Mustang is very much a feel aircraft. The sensories that it gives you, I've written several articles on it. The Mustang talks to you. You know, in the sense that I'm sure the Viper talked to you. But the Mustang's even more of a feel. There's no artificial stall warning on the Mustang. There's no buzzers, bells, whistles, tones, anything. Or, oh, by the way, a computer that says, okay, that's all I can give you, boss. What now?
Makes you lazy.
Yeah. So learning the feel of the aircraft, and that gets into flying it really well. That's one of the things we really try to transfer over. In the fighter pilot world, when you guys are really doing ACM, whoever can turn the tightest is going to eventually win the fight. So in the Mustang world, okay, the best turn rate or radius is going to be just the tickle of a little bit of a buzz in the airframe. And that's not easy to acquire. There's a learning curve to it. And not everybody can get it because everybody's a little different sensory-wise.
Yeah.
And so that's a really big part of the airplane from the performance side is getting that feel down and getting to use it as a tool to fly the aircraft. Pretty straightforward. The airplane directionally, takeoff and landing is not that challenging or demanding. You can what they call ground loop it, things of that nature, and certainly been done a lot in the past. Torque roll and go-around is another great.
I've heard the go-around's it's pretty busy. I mean, is that because of the torque roll and flaps are moving?
Well, it's about as difficult as the F-16. No, it is a little busier, but it's overstated.
Yeah.
Like so many things, Rain, in the high performance world, there are things you do, things you don't do, procedures. And certainly the Mustang, even today, would be considered a high performance aircraft.
Absolutely.
And so if you're doing things out of sequence, you're doing numbers that don't really work, then you're setting yourself up for that classic, what they call torque roll. And it's a project that I'm working on because in the vernacular, if you call it a torque roll, that's the engine torque wanting to torque the fuselage, and you don't have controllability to counter it. And in all the years flying the airplane, I'm very, very convinced that I can control the torque until I stall the wing.
Okay.
Once that left wing stalls, then that airplane will go ahead and torque over. So I'll ask you, being an experienced fighter pilot, is that a torque roll or is that a wing stall?
Which chicken or the egg came first, right? I don't know.
Yeah, well, so I'm going, that's a wing stall, but it's easy to talk about, and now you gotta go, well, prove it. So I'm doing a project with a buddy of mine, Scott Urschel, and to present to the Society of Experimental Test Pilots about documenting, is it a wing stall, and now proving it. So we've got a test boom we're putting on a Mustang, we're putting all the sensors and control inputs and instrumenting the airplane. So,
which is conceptually, like hearing you talk about it, it would make sense that if the wing is still flying, that you should be able to control the torque. I mean, I don't know Mustang torque. I know it's a lot of it, but I can buy that concept that if that wing is still flying, you should be able to control it and counter it.
Yeah, and you can do that up until you put just a little extra G on the airplane.
A little too much.
Yeah.
A little too much.
And then hang on, because the airplane's gonna roll over.
With all your experience and all the years, what are some of like the biggest mistakes? What is the biggest mistake you think guys or gals can do that potentially can lead to unrecoverable? It doesn't have to be just warbirds. Flying in general is a dangerous business. And the standard fighter pilot answer probably, it depends, applies here, but I want to see if you got something that you've seen over the years that gets people?
Well, this is going to be really sort of a different answer than I think you're looking for, but it's sort of a parallel to it. The Mustang can lull you to sleep. The Mustang is such a spectacular airplane to fly, and sort of like the Viper, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You sort of strap this airplane on, you get seated in it, and it becomes part of you. And so in a sense, the Mustang makes you look really good very quickly.
It's like the Viper, it's easy to fly, you know? Like,
Yeah. So, and then you can get, you know, into believing, yeah, I really am good. And then the airplane can humble you very quickly. Again, back to a high performance thing. It's got edges, it's got corners, it's got things you do and things you don't do. And if you exceed one of those margins, you're off to the races, and it can be a pretty wild ride. And so the whole thing is to don't get overconfident in the airplane. So many guys have, and a simple air show repositioning turn, not feeling the buffet and pulling through and departing the airplane, and it takes substantial altitude to recover. It's happened over and over.
You know, the final turn is a big killer, you know, in aviation, where people stall and they're down low to the ground and there's no chance to recover because they spin it. Is that, you know, I imagine that is a regime in the Mustang that's still of concern, but if you spin it, like what altitude are you looking at, like you need to be able to, you need to have to recover it?
This goes back to the Bob Hoover stories of, we talked a lot about spinning the P51 because he was really involved in a lot of that. And we actively spun the Mustang up at the Navy Test Pilot School for many years, and it to the left it spins upright, very flat, and ironically enough, even doing the right spin recovery controlled inputs, it still takes a while to get that nose down to where it recovers. And so to answer your question, an upright spin is losing about 1,500 feet per rotation flat, and it'll take sometimes 5,000–6,000 feet to get it out of the spin, to get the nose out of the vertical and back to a level flight. So it takes a while, and it's not repeatable every time. I've seen very stable flat. I've seen fairly wing rock oriented flat. To the right, I could recover on a heading. It's very conventional, but to the left, because everything's left torque generated.
Yeah, hold on.
Yeah, it's like, okay. And and it's pretty tough on the airplane because of the gyroscopics of that propeller system. We were tearing engine mounts out. We were actually digging the spinner into the cowling of the airplane. And
no kidding.
My brothers, we were talking about 5 boys. 2 of my brothers are the best P51 mechanics in the world. And they finally said, you know, if you don't quit spinning the airplane, we're going to stop working on it. Because I was tearing engine mounts out and gouging the cowling. And
that's some serious like force that's occurring there.
It truly is. And gyroscopics are such a big player in that airplane that, it makes some interesting dynamics.
That's wild. If someone wants to get checked out in a P51, what does that training look like? What would an ideal training profile be?
Well, our profile is like a 7-flight syllabus.
Okay.
You're bringing obviously credentials and experience to the table. The first flight is from the rear cockpit, what we call RC1, and it's a basic, as you would in the Viper. Okay, feel, sight, sounds, the big picture of, okay, what we're working with here.
Right. And
then based on tolerance, putting them right into the front cockpit, and then building a foundation. The Mustang is a really interesting low-speed handling quality airplane, and pretty amazing if you, again, have some feel for it and the experience of doing it. And so we build on that into the higher performance buffet tracking drills, and obviously all the emergency procedures, the EPs, and engine failures, and zero flap landings, and full flap landings, crosswind, all the stuff you do. But it's 10 to 12 hour program for the fairly talented person coming in. Another fun short story is Bill Anders. I trained Bill Anders,
Okay.
you know, around the moon, Bill,
Yeah.
astronaut. And the guy was absolutely like a sponge. You show him once, you tell him something, and he's got it. And so he went through the course in like 7.2 hours or something, and which was an absolute slam dunk record, and well deserved on his case.
I mean, he did go to the moon and fly around that, take some.
Yeah,
cool,
absolutely.
You know, so I was like, he probably has this. If anyone has the skill set, maybe Bill Anders.
Absolutely. So he had a son, Greg, who A-10 pilot.
Oh, BA.
BA Anders, who part of the Air Force Heritage Flight Program, and so he sent BA to come down to go through our checkout training program before he'd let him BA fly the P51, and so I worked with both of them personally, and so finish up BA, same thing. I mean DNA and professional military aviator, A-10 guy, sticking rudders, all the right stuff, good tail wheel time, and so we went right through the whole course, and so hey, great job, and goes home and flies the airplane, and like 2 weeks later I get a call from General Anders, and he's not happy. And I'm going like, what? And he's going, you changed your standards. I'm going, what do you mean? General, I didn't change our standards. He said, you had to. I said, no, sir, actually, we didn't change our standards. If anything, we made them a little bit higher. Well, that can't be right. I'm going, what are you talking about? He said, well, Bill came in, or BA, Greg came in about 0.2 of an hour less than he did. And he wasn't happy about it.
I didn't know about that. But BA flew a lot of air shows, but he's a great human being.
Yes, he is. Absolutely. And so I laugh and giggle about it today, and I still don't think he's happy about it.
It wouldn't be. I can understand that. Yeah. That's awesome.
So, and I told him, I said, General, you can be proud of your son. Absolute, rock solid.
Yeah. It wasn't a rounding error though, Dad. Yeah, I can hear him saying that. The EP training part of it, I heard something about this, and I don't know if it's true or not, but you have a little bit of engine out time in the Mustang. You shut the motor down in the Mustang?
Short answer, yes. Let me put the caveats in there.
There's an asterisk.
So again, back to the Naval Test Pilot School and learning the airplane. If you look at the Dash 1, the flight manual for the P51 Mustang, it's got a little excerpt that says for every 5,000 feet, the airplane will glide 14.5 statute miles. Well, that's military test pilot, and so, but we're flying different airplanes today, lighter weight, and so the Merlin engine being a water glycol cooled engine, you can't really shock cool it.
Okay.
And so I talked to the engine manufacturers, and again, I sort of grew up flying gliders, and started doing a program of engine shutdowns and looking at that, and then did a very dedicated program, a whole glide analysis on the aircraft, looking at different prop configurations for the propeller pitch, looking at flaps, looking at gear, all kinds of turn bank angles, and did a whole analysis from a test pilot standpoint on the glide, and then realized the value of that in the checkout training program. So between the test work, initial work, and then repeated test work over a number of years, I started counting the engine out time, and this is all on purpose,
right.
and all orchestrated and padded and controlled, but about 2.5 hours of engine out in the P51. And it glides actually very well. 150 knots is the baseline for an average airplane, but ironically enough, a lot of what North American came up with was, we re-verified a lot of it, and we looked at a heavy TF and a light D model, and so yeah, it's sort of interesting.
You say slightly interesting. Yeah, I'd say it's pretty interesting. And when you say 2.5 hours, you know, for those who like maybe have not flown a plane and been engine out, like, oh, well, 2.5 hours, that's like watching a movie. Like, that's not really that long, especially when you compare it to like over 10,000 hours flying the Mustang. But 10.5 hours or 2.5 hours, that's a lot of time when you're probably engine out for just a couple minutes at a time.
It was the segments. We started 14,000 and do the shutdown, and then we'd do a recovery at 5 with our men for the SFO back into the airport at 3. So it was normally a 6-minute profile.
6 minutes at a pop. That's a lot of time.
And, you know, 10 of them you got an hour.
Yeah.
And and do we do it in every checkout training program? No, we really don't. But for the advanced guys, the guys that have their own airplane, the guys that are really doing this stuff day in and day out, it's really a great tool to go and, hey, been there, done that. It's pretty quiet. It gets real quiet in that airplane.
Yeah, knock on wood, I haven't experienced that. I mean, the nice thing, modern, you know, the Viper, you have the sim, and every time you go into the sim once a month for emergency procedure training, and you're probably going to have 3 to 6 engine out scenarios. And while it's different, I think, than it would be in the jet, because you know, like, if it doesn't work out in the sim, you're still not riding a rocket on the way out. It does allow you to practice, so the first time this happens, it's not, oh crap. I mean, there's still going to be that to a certain extent, but
sure it is.
You can just kind of get into it, and having seen it once, I think, is
well, the beauty of it, we got to really, from a training EP standpoint, we reassessed or reconfirmed or confirmed, however you want to look at it, how do we duplicate that glide performance in today's P51 Mustang. So in the normal training for, I think you guys call them SFO, simulated flame out, we use sort of the same vernacular, even though it's propeller driven. The high key and how you're going to maneuver the airplane to a landing position. So we can now really go, yeah, what we're teaching is absolutely verified that, yeah, this is the way it works and this is the way it'll happen. So it's a really confidence builder that, okay. And
that's huge.
So it pretty well, and so far the engines have been good. And, obviously for guys that have Mustangs, I'm not recommending you go up and do this.
Right.
You know, the caveat is.
There's the disclaimer.
Yeah.
You're coming from controlled environments, and I think as we kind of wrap up here, I do want to say or ask you, if someone is interested in doing this, you've obviously been doing this quite a while. Where can people find you, and where can they go if they want to pursue something like this?
Rain, if you just look up Stallion 51 or Mustang or Crazy Horse, it'll take you to a website and pretty much into all of what we offer from the training standpoint, the orientation, and obviously I still do a little bit of air show work. And,
yeah. And here we are.
How long ago did you retire?
I've been out for like 3 years. I mean, it's great, you know, to date this. We're going to be coming up on 6 years since we last flew together.
That's amazing. So, yeah, I'm not sure that's right.
I know. we have to play back the tapes, do some math.
Well, I keep checking my age every year, and I do the math, and I go, that can't be right, so I get a calculator, but the answer continues to be the same.
Which is not necessarily a bad thing, right?
It's not.
You know, but it's funny. I think things just kind of, it's cliche, right? But life seems to speed up. I know,
yeah.
Like I've heard it, you've heard it, and like I think once you trip into like your mid-30s, like I start believing it. I'm like, what happened? That was a year just went by. And so I know it's going to just keep going by faster.
Yep. Yeah, everything they say is true.
Yeah.
Including every year after 25, you start putting like a pound on in your body.
Right. I still feel like I'm 23, but for some reason, like my body can't keep up with that.
Yeah,
like my neck hurts, my back hurts.
Yeah. Wait till you get 70.
Just keeps getting better. Well, Lee, I always like to ask my guests as I wrap up, if you found 15, 16-year-old Lee walking down the street, is there any advice you would give him? Tell him to do something different, change this or do that?
Rain, I really would. In my life, there are two things. One is find a passion. Find out what you really enjoy doing, and then passionately pursue it. And the other is, and certainly in my case, is never give up on it. You know, it may not be the direction of how you're going to get to your destination, but go this way, go that way, but don't ever give up on your dreams. That would be my message, and I didn't, and it turned out to be a real blessing, you know, to come to Oshkosh in 2022 and fly a P51 Mustang in front of, you know, tens of thousands of people.
No big
Number
deal.
one, it's a real honor.
Yeah.
But to me, it is an absolute kick to get to do it. And you know, I laugh and giggle. And after 35 years of flying the Mustang, somebody goes, well, what do you want to do tomorrow? It's like, yeah, I'd like to go fly the Mustang.
It never gets old.
And oh, by the way, I get to do it.
Yeah.
And you get to do it and have a whole lot of fun doing it. So stay passionate and never give up. I mean, that's right out of the fighter pilot manual, was it not?
Yeah, I mean, it's to the point. And I think, you know, prime example, I think your initial game plan of being a fighter pilot in the military did not go the way you saw it was going to go, but you never gave up. And now, again, you're sitting here with, you know, 11,000, almost 11,000 hours of Mustang time under your belt with one of the premier, if not the premier P51 training program in the nation. In the world, because I know people come all over, which you probably couldn't say that had you ended up flying whatever in the Air Force. Maybe it would have worked out, but you probably wouldn't have met Arnold Palmer. You probably wouldn't have pursued, you know. So it's funny how
right.
it tends to work out. It seems.
It does. So never say die.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Lee, I really appreciate you joining
Listen,
the podcast.
my honor, Rain. Always.
Yeah. Thank
really,
you so much.
Real privilege to get to fly off your wing and always a highlight in my life.
Well, and I can say, you know, from being that little kid just down there watching you fly, and then, you know, fast forward.
Oh, here we go to the diaper deal.
Lee, it's truly an honor to be able to flow with you, call your friend, and be able to chat today. So thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you. You take care, my friend.
You too.
See you.
Yeah, there I was. I mean, there I was segments I think everyone really loves because it's just it's a standalone, something slightly different. So I'll let you take it away.
Awesome. So, Rain, bird strike, big thing in the military aviation and stuff, and obviously in Mustangs and the speeds we fly and things like that. So, always a concern.
Absolutely.
And I'm a falconer. I fly birds of prey, and so the study and things. And one of my things has always been the birds are very, situational aware of their surroundings, and you hardly sneak up on them. And so if you see a bird, I've always, from the helicopter world to the Mustang world like that, I've always tried not to miss the bird, but let the bird miss me. In other words, remain predictable.
Right.
And so in a P51, and I've got a student in the front, and all of a sudden we're going through this flock of vultures, and sure enough, he tries to miss the bird, and it comes up right over the canopy, actually bounces over the top of the canopy into the ventral fin of the vertical, and wrapped it around to like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And we've got cameras on the airplane and up on the tail. And so you come back, and obviously the airplane's got some damage to it, and my brothers look at it and they're going, well, we want to see this on the video. And ironically enough, we go to watch the video tape player failed. And they're going like, we could have at least seen it.
Right.
So anyhow, they repair the airplane and life goes on. And like 2 years later, we're coming back, and the aningas, the sort of the snake birds that they sort of snap roll and tumble if they see you coming, and things like that. And we're coming into the pattern only like 150 knots. And I see what I thought was traffic, made a big change because the student was flying the airplane from the front. I have the aircraft, and I'm just going to remain predictable. He snap rolls, goes under, and you feel the impact on the airplane. I'm going, damn.
Gotta be kidding me. Yeah.
And so, yeah, you got to be kidding me. Here we go again. And I'm looking around to where the impact was and can't really see it. We land and stuff like that. And sure enough, the bird only hit the camera lens, which is the size of a nickel on the vertical stabilizer. The only damage to the airplane was it cracked the camera protective lens. So
No kidding.
we got this little crack in there. And so now we go back to the video. And I got it right this time for the video because, and a bad day for the bird. But the very last thing, the last frame of the camera was.
Right.
And so it reaffirmed my whole thing. Remain predictable and let the bird do the maneuvering. If I'd have just stayed there instead of trying to get fancy
Right.
and go underneath him, it would have worked out just fine. But it takes sometimes 2 takes to get the results.
Do the right photo. That's it.
What a pleasure.
Likewise, I really appreciate it, Lee. Thanks so much. I gotta get the photo now. We gotta find where that is.
Yeah.
Awesome.